здихай, мила, так тяжко. Ой, не здихай, так тяжело. Та войда хіба же тобі же, ой, дружка, жалко, забувай тепер його. Забувай тепер його, та войда хіба же тоді же я ой забуду, як закроються ой глаза, як закроються глаза, так і я серце же кров'ю же ой обольються, грудь сов'яне же я ой як трава. Грудь сов'яне, як трава, та войда грудь сов'яне, і ой засохне, нікогда никогда не расцветет, та войда по кладбищу ой ходила, не боялась я нічого. Дякую. Вітаю. Гарного вам вечора.
Дякую, Софія Євміна, Соня. Hi everyone, just want to check is it okay if I speak English for everyone? Okay, because it's just so difficult to choose this one language. We have so many languages tonight, and I'm just gonna tell you some stories. Who of you, like, I'm so happy to see all of you. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. But I want to understand, like, who of you knows what is TEL 3? TEL 3. No, very little. I'm so surprised. Why did you come then? So it's really like, if you don't know, but maybe you like surprises, and I'm all for that. So what is TEL 3? It's our tonight is multilingual performance, but overall it has been a laboratory of 10 weeks where we've been doing very interesting things, writing together, like creating together, and we were all writing in our native, forgotten and stolen languages. Yeah. Can you change the slide? So yeah, you can see. So tonight, don't worry, we will have some translations from these languages. You see here some translations, and we will give to some of you who need it. You can not now, at the right point. And here you can see that this TEL 3 is a research, exploration, poetic thing. No, but not only poetic, because some of our performers don't like poetry, so you will see. And we have very diverse things that we've been doing, people who are going to come to this scene. But one thing that is very common to all of us, that we have in common, is that we've all been mostly writing in Russian language instead of our native languages. And some of us were forgetting our native languages, some not, some are speaking well, some cannot speak almost at all. But all of this happened due to some reasons. Can we change the slide? Yeah. So here you can see these reasons. Who knows, without looking at the slide, the reasons? Some people know, 2 people. Actually, you are just our performers, so of course you know. Yeah, the reasons for forgetting, for losing our native languages of indigenous peoples of Russia, of ethnic groups, is Russification mainly. But it's been, as you know, this colonization of the groups has been going on forever. But yeah, since USSR has been some things changing. For example, almost all of the languages were shifted to Cyrillic alphabet. But then since Russian Federation, also some things happened. For example, I am coming from Tatarstan, and in 2002, Tatarstan wanted to actually change back to Latin, surprisingly, because Latin was just 9 years there, but still. But then Russia didn't let Tatarstan do it and just created this law just in case, so that no one can change from Cyrillic. Then there were many other things, so mostly regarding the classes of indigenous languages in the schools. And overall, I think that the reason is not like just around these laws, but overall the discourse, the governmental discourse, the overall kind of, how do you say it, paradigm of the society that of course differed from, I would say in the very small cities, in the villages, it was very different from the discourse in the big cities. But still, there's been this discourse that indigenous languages, non-Russian languages basically, are not intellectual, they are connected to poverty, they are connected to lower class of working people, while Russian language was somewhere like on top, super main language, default language. Unfortunately, but now, and that was the reason why the literatures in these languages are not so great as great Russian literature that we all know, and I think that many of us read. Is there anyone who never read Russian literature? Yes! Yes! One person! I'm so happy! It's no, I'm not joking like this. I was not even hoping. Okay, then this happened, and now we are trying to actually revive our literatures, to revive our languages that are at very different levels of extinction. Like my native language, Tatar, is still doing pretty okay. Some languages, just several hundreds of people are still speaking. Yeah, but still, they are all considered on the edge of extinction. Next slide. So, reviving literature, basically. Next slide. It's me, and I don't know why I picked this picture. I don't think that it's like very beautiful, but I just like my face here. I think it just shows all the my emotion about this Russian literature overall. And my name is Dinara Rasuleva, and even in my name you can see so many traces of colonization. How many? Who knows? Yeva, yeah. Alphabet. Cyrillic, but it's not Cyrillic here, but still. In passport it was. But I don't have anymore this passport, so I'm just relieved. Okay. But what can I say? I'm just going to not say too much tonight. I already said a lot. But I'm just going to read one poem in Tatar, and then I will pass the stage to other performance in beautiful other languages. So, yeah, this next poem, can you just change? Yeah, this poem is actually one of my last poems in the Lost Lingual project. Lost Lingual project is my poetic project that started like a long time ago, not a long time ago, 2022. And when I started it, I thought that I cannot write in Tatar at all because I thought that I lost this language. So my first poems in Tatar were like 2-3 words, for example, 2 words for cat, like pesi and mashe, and miau, which is like meow in Tatar. And this was my first poem. But then, like through years, I've been not learning Tatar on purpose. I've just been writing, and you will see that this poem is long. You will see that it's long, and it's a lot of Tatar in this. So I added some translations. Actually, the book is coming, but not very soon, but this year. Lost Lingual, so these translations I made for the book. Okay, I will read now, and you, Sonia, please just look like, because it's a song, so I'm just trying not to sing it now, because now is not the place. Kap, kap, kap, kap, kap karakus, kuzga kara, karasuz janna yara, karasu jela, karayash miskin bala, kap kara, kap. Kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, karakuz, kuzga kara, karasuz, batara, kara halıq, birga, barıq, kara urmanda, yuğalıq, kap, kap, kap, kap, мәхәббәтсіз, dünya ямсыз, сулыш ізілі, башлана кіз, каракuz, kuzga kara, karasuz, adашқан бала, мәхәббәтсіз, yuğala, салқыная, қышқа таба, kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, kara ormandan yol tabıq, kara ormandan yol tabıq, kara ormandan yol tabıq, мәхәббәтсіз, dünya ямсыз, biz bir özümüz қалабыз. Зиратқа кірген идік, жерді ині тапқан идік, ині құлағында милләт өлі, ызыла сүліш, башлана қыш, кап, кап, kap, kap, kap, kap, kap, kara көз, еміла, міскін бала, ялғыз қала, kara көз, көзге қара, kara көзге, кізгіге. So, yeah, you can see there's been a lot of Tatar, and that's where we came in these 3 years of these investigation and experiment. Okay, so I'm done with my poems. I'm not going to read to bother you anymore. But what is the next slide? We'll see who is coming next. And I'm inviting to this stage Marina Sontseva.
Hello, hello. Здравствуйте, good evening. So many familiar faces. First, I would like to share two stories. One story is about a town where I was born. So I am from 101st kilometer. 101 kilometer. Does anyone know what it is? So for those who don't, there existed in Soviet Union a line on restriction on migration around Moscow, but not only Moscow, many other cities, for example, Tashkent, also where people who were considered undesirable elements, like people dissidents or migrants, could not settle. So, and this is my hometown, Strunino, 10,000 people, 100 kilometers away from Moscow, huge Roma community, people with prison experience, and also my grandma went there and settled there because she could not settle next to Moscow. And my grandma, she is from Bashkortostan, but she is from orphanage house. And this is another colonial story. Из детского дома-интерната there were orphanage houses where people were brought as Russian citizens or Soviet citizens without any local identities, and also she didn't speak Bashkort language and she was not religious at all, and she had, of course, Russian name totally. And that's the story about my identity, that I was brought in a city with a very mixed crowd of people, and also without any native language, so I speak only Russian. Of course, later I learned English, German, Latvian, French, but I consider myself like this Koya Shaukli. This is a goddess of Aztec, and Gloria Anzaldúa wrote about her in her book Mestiza. This is like a person of Creolic or mixed identities, and this is actually a woman considered of many, many parts. And this is also my paintings that I'm painting, also women in these images. And I will read two poems today. One, they are both in Russian, but this is my experimental writing. I try to break the language and to work with it, breaking the structure, even if it is the only one lost language that I have. We can also work with it and write in it in many different ways. Yeah. Марине, мулине, медь, нить, 101. Маратик и Тажудин залезают со мной на дерево. Бабушка зовет меня Марине, когда сердится. Марине, мулине, если мед залезает в голову. А кошачьи лапки такие мягкие, ветки дерева держат вас крепко. Все ваши смешки, разговоры, тарабарщину, неразбериху, чецуху, шутки, тартарары, тальёк, огонек, уже не мед, а медь, мед-медведь. Мы сидели, болтали ногами, языками, скажи, жи, скажи, расскажи. Я называла их кошечка, эти пушистые штуки, деревья, которые вылезают весной и пахнут медом и красят нос в желтый. Катис, катис ун путти. Но дерево было крепкое и держало все наши смешки, ноги, уколы, истории, страшилки, мальчишечьи рассказы. Если упасть с дерева, ничего не случится, потому что невысоко. И твой лучший друг Гарик научил тебя эскес сиремем. Бум-бурум-бурум-бум-бей. Когда я слышу звук революции, это звук поезда. Трщ-трщ-трщ, тук-тук-тук-тук. Куда-то с сумками, с котомками, с кошками, с плошками, с лошадьми, с самими. Норм, не норм, а тебе я на езде. Я выезжаю сейчас, 2 минуты, через час, через 2, и я к тебе, а домой открытку. Я дарю тебе фото навечно, а может на несколько дней. Все это зависит от жизни, от Женей, твоей и моей. Ей-ей, эгегей, зачем, куда, бели-берда, бурда, копыл, куда, тах, тар-тарарах, трах, прах, прах.
Rahmet, Marina, thank you so much. Спасибо. And I just forgot to mention some things before we start. Can you just go last slide? Yeah, just some things that I forgot to mention. First of all, if someone of you didn't bring the donation yet, you are welcome always. There is this box, and where this donation goes, who knows? You don't know. So the donation goes to the Ukrainian fund, Повернись живым. And it's dedicated, but some of it will also go to fund of Crimean Tatars. So there are two ways, and so it's a very nice way to spend your money. So this is one thing. And the second thing I forgot to mention that tonight is just not myself, TEL, and all our nice performance, but also we are doing all this in collaboration, of course, with Panda platform, but also Totschka Library in Berlin. Please also research. It's a very nice library with Belarusian, Ukrainian, and Russian and Tatar books. Okay, that's it. And now we're going to our next performer, and this is a surprise for you. Very interesting. You cannot expect that this person is coming from very far. Nara, we invite you to this virtual stage.
Hi. Can you see me? Yeah. Okay, so I can start, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I'm an artist from Siberia, Tumen, and I'm also Tatar. But when I was little, to be Tatar was something uncool, and it's something that you could be ashamed of. And so I had really complicated relationship with my identity. And could you please switch to the next slide? Here you can see my mom. She's wearing here a traditional Tatar headdress. And she really wanted her children to speak language and to love Tatar culture. But at that time, I didn't really listen to her. But as I got older, I understood that I want to know more about our culture, and I even tried to go to some language courses, but it never worked out for me somehow. So I don't speak Tatar language. And last year, my grandma, my mom's mom, died, and I wanted to commemorate her and to fix memories about her, and I wanted to do this in Tatar language, and I couldn't find a way. I didn't know how to approach it, and I felt stuck. And during our lab sessions, I finally did some progress, and I wrote a poem dedicated to my grandma, and I would like to read it to you, and then I would also like to share some comments about this poem. So can you please switch to the next slide? Yeah, so this is my poem. Pelmeni pësherëzme, val kirekme, kajmak kirekme, asha, asha, asha, karangë bulme, di varda e nep turuçi shamayıl, saganem ti saganem, hem elek, yalmayma, uku, sin mine big kupner severden, min sine big saganem. So this poem is sort of a mixture of different phrases that my grandma told me, and sometimes they are quite confusing. Like, she offered us like to eat everything she had in the kitchen, and sometimes she said not really pleasant things, like don't smile because people will think that you are silly or something like that. And our relationship wasn't easy, but through all her action, I felt that she really loved me, and she cared for me, and she wanted to protect me. And I'm so grateful that I could like make this piece of work. And also, like, I still don't know Tatar, but like through this writing practices, I realized that my attitude and my relationship with Tatar language changed a lot, and I'm so grateful to Dinara and all my wonderful group mates that let me learn from you and share this journey with me. So thank you a lot. That's it. Thank you.
Rahmet, Nara. Oi, Nara, thank you so much. I also find it fascinating that my name is Dinara and Nara's name is Nara, and it's also a full name. And to tell you the truth, like I was never called Nara because maybe people didn't know that this name exists, but they called me Diana, Dilara, many different names. But this is not the time to tell you because maybe later this will come. However, I just realized that I forgot to tell you something. Have you seen the new season of Black Mirror? It's depressing, and I'm just thinking, like, I became like so anxious after I saw this 4th episode, and I was like, we are all going to die. I'm so afraid of this nothingness, and we decided to switch to Lieutenant Colombo. And this is such a huge recommendation to all of you. It's just like, bring me to my childhood. Everything is just the same. Every episode just the same. A husband kills the wife, and we know it from the start. No reason to worry. You already know everything. And you know that Colombo will win in the end. So it's just like super chill, super calming. And now we are coming to our next performer, who is not related to Colombo, just decided to share with you. So our next amazing performer, welcome to this stage, Victoria Scholter.
Salam purnedi, regaç pulder, mana Victoria tizetinişi, ebe şinizu poşkartan şuralna, анчахта халь эбе Берлинда пуранадып. И можно повернуть, здесь заканчивается чуварский. Можно еще раз. Я родилась в Чувашской республике и выросла в Чувашской республике вот в таком городе. Он очень долгое время не имел названия, а просто назывался город-спутник. Очень маленький. Но свое раннее детство, я очень мало кому рассказывала об этом, я провела в республике Хакасия, в деревне Таштып. Таштып переводится как «каменная дыра», потому что деревня находится вокруг гор. Вот так примерно. И сегодня я прочитаю вам кое-что о моих воспоминаниях из Хакасии, о старшей сестре моей одноклассницы, о плакатах с Натальей Арейро, о цветных лаках, о цветных карандашах и вкусных духах с запахом малины. Also, I have some copies with translation. Who needs this? Who doesn't speak? I will speak in Russian, so there is English and Deutsch. Можно пока предыдущий слайд, наоборот. Это наши чувашские барышни. Пока раздается, я расскажу, что наши женщины носят украшения в виде монеток полностью, как рыцарьки в латах. Вот такие у нас женщины. Я тоже имею такое. Вот у меня звенит. Сейчас все раздали, и я могу начать читать. Спасибо. Черная коса, линия времени спуталась в петлю, обмотала шею. Питче, ты движешься на цыпочках по моей памяти. След плетется вдоль стен. Герух растекается по ненаписанным дневникам. Покажи мне блокноты, где каждая наклейка — твой крик. Аппа, резкий, как лопнувший воздух. Эзимана останадани или уже не знаешь, кто я или была, maybe, швесте. Снова завтра я приду в дом, которого нет, и был кзынын. Ничего между нами. Все между нами. Таня из Нохендешуле. Лестницы сделаны из запаха мела. Он хрустит под ногами. Он звонкий на вдохе. Юджин в ожидании. Трещины, из которой ты вытекала, как свет. Ты показала мне, как рисовать солнце. Кун. 2 треугольника. Один внутрь другого. Обязательно. Среди гор. Там должно быть что-то. Там почти. Там ничего. Но форма осталась. Эбисананан ластап. Мы с тобой 2 треугольника на полях. Остались между словами, которых не было, которые были до нас. Ты говорила: смотри, солнце. Я смотрю, пустота. Мы фигуры не сложились, не сложили друг друга, но вырезаны были точно наискосок. Между нами прозрачность. Невидимый звук касается места, где я не родилась, и ты не умерла, где все еще светит.
Thank you, Rahmat, Victoria. Thank you so much. Wow, Victoria, it's so wonderful that you are our part of TEL already for the second time in a row. So you see, people keep coming to the TEL, but our next performer is the third time. And this performer is not unique. Half of our group is the third time. But this performer is the third time, very dedicated and very also special and unique and awesome. I'm inviting here Aliyah.
Я не ожидала, что я сейчас выступаю. Салям. Я буду говорить по-русски, and I also will translate something to English. Так, да, меня зовут Алия, я родом из Казани, из Республики Татарстан. В школе я учила татарский язык, я ходила там в татарскую группу. То есть у нас было разделение на группу татарскую и группу не татарскую. И так как я татарка с татарским именем и фамилией, родилась в татарской семье, соответственно, у меня не было никакого выбора, я пошла в татарскую группу. Вот. Татарский я использовала по большей степени, чтобы разговаривать со своими бабушками. Вот, то есть дома было редко, когда что-то на татарском говорили, только если мама ругалась, например. Да, и по сути мой основной язык был русским. Вот, то есть как бы я тоже вот этот продукт русификации. Да, в 2014 году я переехала в Германию, и там уже было вообще не до татарского, соответственно. Тут уже был вопрос, господи, как бы говорить на немецком, учить английский и прочее. Вот. Но наступил 2022, трагичный, печальный. И тут я словила жесткий кризис, и у меня начались тоже проблемы с идентичностью, и тут я начала осознавать на самом деле о том, а что это я вообще татарский как-то не люблю, на нем не разговариваю, вот, и вообще, что это такое. И потом внезапно, по удачным обстоятельствам, как раз-таки появилась лаборатория Динары, и я такая, о, туда мне надо. И, соответственно, я записалась туда. Вот, господи, у меня эта шапка падает. Это, кстати, тюбетейка, народная татарская. Вот, и с тех пор я уже 3-й раз подряд хожу на лаборатории TEL. Мне все мало, я все хочу еще. В следующий раз я тоже пойду обязательно. Если они будут, конечно же, надеюсь, будут. Да, пишу на татарском. Ну, как пишу? Что могу, то пишу. Вот, и сейчас я просто дико поглощена татарской культурой, это все, это крышеснос, то есть мейкап татарский, тюбетейка татарская, татуировка татарская, украшения татарские, я не знаю, татарскость просто прет отовсюду. Да, ну вы видите, собственно говоря, я фотку не зря такую выбрала, это я в Казани как раз-таки, где там были десерты, выполненные в татарских тоже национальных блюдах и в тюбетейке. Вот, в общем, короче, я вообще полетела. Следующий слайд, пожалуйста. И сегодня, 19 апреля, день рождения моего папы. Вот, стоит сказать, что мое первое слово вообще в целом было «ати», что на татарском означает «папа». Вот, и я ему посвящаю этот стих, который я нашла на прекрасных просторах Гугла. То есть это не я написала, если что, но я его прочитаю с душой. Туган көнең күңелле булсын, шатлыклы, куанычлы һәм бәхетле. Каеф гел күтәренке булсын. Гомерен шатлык, куанычлар, могҗизалар белән тулсын. Сәламәтлеген беркайчан да начарланмасын. Нервларын исән булсын. Кояш һәрвакыт тәрәзәгә балкысын. Күңелендә һәрвакыт җылы булсын. Вот. С днем рождения, папуль. Рахмет. And next. Следующий, пожалуйста. Так, а это, собственно говоря, творение, которое я написала во время нашей лаборатории. Вкратце о чем речь. Это дача наша, любимая, горячо моими родителями. В эту дачу уходят все силы, все деньги, все время, которое есть у моих родителей, у моей семьи. И, собственно говоря, дача является для нас вот таким сакральным объектом, и я решила про нее написать. И стих называется «Акша, бахша, мунша», все в рифму. Акша — это деньги, бахша — это дача, мунша — это баня. Quick translation to English. So this is a poem about my parents' garden in Kazan. Dacha. Yeah, I hope you know what is it. And the whole money, the whole time, energy, it goes everything to this dacha. And this poem, it's actually about this dacha and how I just spent not money, oh God, time there. So I will read it. И это я маленькая, кстати. Да. Мин бакчада, гаилә бакчада, бөтен акча бакчада. Кыяр, помидор, теплица и двор, безнең мунча и юк акча. Чай еще чай, сөт белән без эчәрбез. Но уже без печенья и без чәкчәге. Кечкенә мин ачуланып ашкырам. Was soll das sein? There is no life without Tatarian sweets. Жизнь кайф. Мин кибеткә акча белән барам. На поляне стоит баран. Еще стоит и кәҗә. Им не нужны акча, а нужны чиста кәбестә. Ну все, мне пора, hasta la vista. Кибеттә alles алам. Нести тяжело. Уфалам. Приперла все домой. Ой, бакчага. Ага. Теперь без мунча, теперь без после мунча, all together сөтле чәй, ми чәкчәк белән эчәбез. Рәхмәт.
Ой, рәхмәт. Рәхмәт, Алия. And our next guest is also very special and is coming from very far. Svetlana.
Чирткемеш. Чирткемеш, чирткемеш. Мнамни свети, мон удмурт. Мон вордски удмурт гуртын, верашкишко удмуртчамен, али улишко Хельсинки, но ужашко университетын тодосчилуса. Hello, my name is Svetlana. I am from Udmurtia and I speak Udmurt language as a mother tongue. I was born in Udmurt village and I didn't speak Russian before I was 15 years old. And I knew Russian, but I didn't speak it. I started to speak it when I moved from village to city and I was 15 years old. And for me, it was very hard, this transition from village to city and transition from Udmurt to the Russian language. And maybe because of that, I became a linguist and I love my language and I also research my native Udmurt language. And now I work as a linguist, as a researcher of Udmurt and relative Finno-Ugric languages in the University of Helsinki. I also loved very much writing in my mother tongue, in Udmurt. And for some years, I have been writing a blog in Udmurt language. And usually when I write in a small indigenous language, I feel very lonely because I don't have many readers. And for me, this group and laboratory of people writing in indigenous languages, it was something very special because it's so amazing to see poems in indigenous languages, and you don't need to understand the language, but through the poems and poesy you understand so many things and you realize that you have so many things in common. So I was so happy. I also wrote myself some poems. It was not easy, but I did my best. And now I want to read you one poem that I wrote during this course. Can you please change the slide? Жадишко, уктидашкы, бардишко, кышкашко, уктырмы кужым, джигар, счет кужым но джигар. Лунгыр-лангыр, уштыр-табыр, дымбыр-дамбыр, ури-бери, ушимур, потеме углу. So, tu stautilidle, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you, Rahmat. And we, time runs so fast. It just runs very fast, and we're approaching the end of our first part. But please don't rush, because our second part is going to be unbelievable. But we are not at the end yet, because I'm going to invite now our next performer just before the break. And our next performer is also a witch. Людмила Погодина.
Thank you so much. That's the best presentation I've ever had. Yes, this is me. And this is Belarus, if you wonder how it looks. And Igor, who's coming later on stage, noticed that Belarus reminds the shape of Berlin. And and also this is a city, Minsk, where I come from. And according to Igor, this city is also where wedding is supposed to be, where I live now. So I don't know, witchery is definitely something here in the air. Yes, the next slide, please. So I was born in a Russian-speaking family, and despite my Belarusian or Ukrainian roots, nobody spoke any of those languages. And the only bilingual, multilingual person in my family, the first one, was my mom. And this is her, Lydia Parkhats. And my mom was born on the territory of now Poland, because her family lived on the border of Belarus and Poland. And back in the day, families who lived on the border moved back and forth. And she spent her childhood in a hutor, which is a standalone country houses on the river Mukhavets. And I learned, preparing this presentation from Wikipedia, that Mukhavets was part of the medieval trade way. So just a fun fact, random. And in her adult life in a capital, when we moved together with my family, I'm a little nervous, you can hear. She took words from Belarusian, from Polish, and probably from Polesia, proverbs or words that she used through her life. And she never spoke Belarusian language, but she loved to sing Belarusian songs. And the next slide, please. Yes. So since I moved to Germany, many people asked me where Belarus is. Apparently, not many know. So I decided I'll help you a little bit here. And so my mom was born here. And I personally was born somewhere here. And yes, so I was born in Steppe. And when my father left military service, we moved back to Belarus. So then my parents sent me to Belarusian language school. And I was the first person in my family who learned and started speaking Belarusian. And now I speak three languages. I understand 4, and I learned 2 more. And I used 2.5 working on my book. Yes. Oh, give me a second. So, I'm going to read first one poem, and for the second one, I'm going to invite my collaborator on the second poem. So let's do the next slide. Коли в очі зміняють колір на червоний, shivering. Don't hesitate, focus, focus. Тело моцное, тело слабое, it resonates. Бей, беги, freeze. Нема часу на страх, нема часу, часу нема. When eyes turn red, the sky turns black, there is no time. Friend or fiend, all in one. Нельга збегчи, the heart is a hostage, the womb is a hostage. Я не родился тут и не помру тут. Aliyah. So the next poem we co-wrote together. So Aliyah will start. Okay, I will give you one, and yes, let's do it. It works?
Все. Здрасте, это снова я. My poem. Actually, not only mine, also Ludmila's.
Ours.
Yeah, ours. Yeah, but this is the first part, which I wrote. Unterschiede, differences, различия, айрамлаклар. Все такие разные, а по факту все мы люди. Столько поводов для конфликтов, но сколько можно. Ich kann nicht mehr. You can't take it anymore. Siz barabas da monetinesi... Еще раз. Siz barabas da monetizə almısız. Мы все от этого устали. Я хочу, чтобы был peace, а не полнейший peace this.
Социальные конструкции. Конструктор можно разобрать и сложить обратно в коробку. Собрать завтра утром что-то новое. С точки зрения космоса все мы летим в одну сторону, вертимся на одной оси. You see? Покажите нам огульного ворога. Ненависть объединяет. Покажите нам что-то, что не ненависть, и объединяет. Боротьба об'єдновує. But what about friendly fire, collateral damage? Коли уже почнем будовать, а не руйновать. When you're ready to meet halfway, I'll be here, waiting for you. QR code. There's a small QR code waiting for you.
Thank you. Дякую, дякую, Rahmet. It's, you know what is more depressing than the new season of Black Mirror? Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook for like 3 years, but recently I just left one comment. And then I just got depressed for another 3 years because it's just the replies that I received. I was just thinking, what's happening to people? And it's just, your poem reminded me because, like, we need to become, you know, more adequate. Just more adequate, please. Okay, and so now we're going to have this nice pause break of 10 minutes. And we're going to have the amazing, wonderful second part of our evening. So thank you so much and come back in 10 minutes. Bye-bye. Not bye-bye. See you, see you, see you. это еще одна depressing thing, но в принципе, поэтому я сейчас уже роман написала, я поняла, что надо работать в другую сторону немножко. Но поэтические как бы корни, они, конечно, во мне глубоки. So I was just saying, I see that like English-speaking people started to come in. Okay, so I was just saying that I've been dedicating my whole life to poetry, but people usually don't like poetry. Like some of my friends, they said, you know, I'm just reading your blog, I'm reading your writing, but whenever I see a poem, I just skip it because I cannot read poems. That's fine. I mean, I also skip poems. I never read a single book of poetry in my life. But it's just who I am. I'm a poet, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not angry about people don't liking poetry. And why I'm saying this to you is just not to, I don't know, like, чтобы не вызвать жалость, ничего такого. Но просто потому что наша следующая выступает, because our next performer is someone who also doesn't like to write poetry. But that's fine, because we love you anyways. Please come to the stage and welcome Dinara.
Hi, folks. I'm Dinara, and I actually didn't, не отрепетировала, в общем, это все на английском. Но let's try. There are some facts about me. I'm Tatar. I have even studied in a Tatar school, and that's super weird because my mother gave me to some Tatar school, and we actually never speak Tatar in our home. I mean, in my family. And that was really weird. It was the same as, I don't know, as if she gave me to some English school when I don't speak any English because I didn't speak Tatar. And I had to learn it real quick, and I managed to do that because it turned out that I have some, not sure, like, расположенность к языкам. I had some of it, so I turned to be lucky. But it was really hard for me, to be honest. Like, my first 3 classes in school were a hell to me. Now I live in Prague and work as a PM in Microsoft, and I have a husband and cat named Vishenka. Yeah, that's something I already mentioned. I didn't know any Tatar language, but I have some extreme circumstances in which I had to learn it really quick. And I learned it, and I was studying on it for 10 years in school, but when I graduated from school, I never spoke it again, even now. So maybe a little with my grandma, but that's it. Those are little facts about me. Next slide, please. Yeah, and I hate poetry, and even when I write it, I do it with this face because it's like, okay. And I tried to write poetry during this course with Dinara, and like. Thank you so much, but I never liked any of the things that turned of it, you know. And this is a story about me stealing like some poetry in school. I believe it was like second class. And let me read it. One sec. I was going to read it in Russian, actually. Sorry, English-speaking folks. Okay. Okay, let's get it started. Я очень долго пыталась написать стих, хотя бы маленький стишок на 4 строчки. И у меня, как всегда, не получилось со стихами. Ну, не получается у меня, простите, пожалуйста. И так уже не в первый раз. И в качестве компенсации я хочу рассказать вам о моем первом разе, когда я украла чужой стих. Это не было первым случаем, когда я попыталась что-то украсть, но он был первым настолько масштабным и относительно успешным. Во 2 классе школы на 8 марта мы организовали вечер для мам, и на каждом, прошу прощения, не на каждом, на этом вечере каждый должен был прочитать свой стих, посвященный своей маме. И я вот думаю об этом задании, и мне становится как-то жутко, и я вот внутри возмущаюсь. Ну, серьезно, как можно дать такое задание второклашке? Лично я не смогла тогда ничего сочинить, хоть убей. И тогда я решила украсть чужой стих. У меня была книжка со стихами, я рандомно выбрала какой-то стих. И как я сейчас понимаю, выбрала очень плохо, потому что он был шуточный и назывался «Энигегене». «Энигегене» — это только для мамы на татарском. Смысл был такой, что сестра автора готовит маме подарок на 8 марта. Авторка описывает этот процесс, хотя она не понимает, почему она скрывает производство этого подарка. Она там что-то вышивает. И в конце стиха говорит, что поделится этим секретом только с мамой. Это был очень плохой выбор. Но я этого тогда не понимала. И выучила этот стих. И прочитала его на вечере. Уж не знаю, поверил ли кто-нибудь, что я сочинила его сама. По-моему, не поверил никто, а уж меньше всех моя мама, но опустим этот момент. Потом, примерно через неделю, моя одноклассница нашла этот стих в аналогичной книжке и показала мне его, не заботясь о том, чтобы это был секрет. Я ничего вразумительного ей тогда не сказала. Ну, а что бы я сказала? Типа, да, я украла стих, и что? Но мне было очень стыдно. Сейчас я подошла бы к учительнице и сказала бы, что не могу придумать стих, но тогда мне не хватило на это смелости. Ну, мне хватило ее на то, чтобы рассказать об этом вам, и то хорошо. Напоследок забавный факт. Я хотела вставить этот стих в свой рассказ, и как мне посоветовала Динара, и, собственно, закончить свой рассказ этим стихом. Но странное дело, я не смогла нигде его найти. А наизусть я его уже не помню, к сожалению. Но помню последние строчки. «Сэр итеп эйтем минона, эни ягене». И все. Усё. Спасибо. Спасибо большое. Все. Да, там же бонус. В общем, это я. Я не знаю почему, но мне очень нравится рассказывать людям, что у меня был разрыв аневризмы 2 года назад. И я почти сдохла. Но вот мне повезло, я вошла в 10%, которые не сдыхают от этой операции. И вот, смотрите, я перед вами стою живая.
Oh, thank you, Dilara. This amazing story for those who didn't understand. So Dilara had this very serious surgery in her brain. So her brain was actually, her head was cut into 2 and aneurysma was fixed there. And now, can I tell it? Dilara, where are you? Can I tell the rest of the story about your thing? And now Dilara has some special tube in her brain, always, which brings liquids from the brain somewhere into the guts. So this is how now Cyber Woman is with us and performed here. Thank you so much, Dilara. And yeah. I would like, though, to welcome our also very special, very unique performer, next person to this stage, who is Leo.
Hi. Hi, I'm Leo. You see, Effet basically has Ifetova, and I had just like intuition for this performance to decolonize my name because Effet is like a very old, it's very famous family name on Crimea. It's old Krim Karala family. Probably no one of you ever heard about Krim Karala, Crimean Karaites. Probably most of you have heard about bigger indigenous group of Crimea, Crimean Tatars. Crimean Karaites were kind of siblings, but have different religions. Were kind of, yeah, so indigenous Jews. Yeah, like Karaim is like own religion, they read only Torah, they don't like Talmud, but the language and culture are pretty similar to Crimean Tatars. So, and this, how I feel, this is my self-portrait, how I feel being multicultural, multi-ethnical, non-binary, because very often people think I have to choose between one culture or one language or one gender, and I think, no, I can just be everything in different colors. So, please, next slide. So now I wanted to tell a little bit about my connection to Crimea. Basically, my grandparents were, as many, were deported. So I didn't grow up in Crimea, but it's a very fun fact. So here you can see, this is food color. It's medieval age, not castle, it's like crepest. It's crepest, yes. And basically even 100, 150 years ago, Karaim community was living there, and I have heard, it sounds fantastic for me, that also some of my relatives were living there. So probably I think this is my connection. I was, since my childhood, archaeology and history nerd, and I think it's also something very typical Crimean, because like Crimea is so rich on different cultures, is a melting point. It was always melting point of different ethnicities, religions and everything. So I think it's very Crimean. And my grandfather was, it's very funny because he was Orientalistic professor. He was speaking Turkish, Crimean Karaim. He was poor Karaim, not like me, not mixed. And he was also very patriotic. He was trying during this crucifixion also like to teach about Crimean cultures. He was teaching Crimean Tatar and Karaites languages. They are very similar at schools. Okay, everything had an end after ethnical cleansing, but somehow we're all here, we all are trying to live our languages. And somehow I also inherited it from my grandfather. I'm also language addict. I speak 3 languages fluent, and I have basic knowledge, maybe in 10 languages, including a little bit Arabic. So, yeah, and also Crimean. My dad was somehow mountain addict. I never understood it because, like, I'm like sea addict. I think it's Crimean, but Crimea has also a lot of mountain landscapes, so both is Crimean. So next slide. And now I'm very happy that I had this opportunity to try to write in Crimean Tatar language, because Karaim language or Crimean Tatar language is nearly impossible to learn. There are no resources, there are no Duolingo for that. And this is just like my try. It's like kind of musical poem. I was just fascinated by sound of words and like just put these words together. Yeah. Kochurme, kechirelme, terjime, cheverme, para, hiberme, мне. Dohru terjime, dohru telafots. Kara, bye, and goodbye. Kara varum, чан чанчик, чан чичиги, улетели мы на телеге. Араба macht тук-тук-тук, капи-капи, какелди, гурдали, алхишлар копти. Next slide, please. Sorry, I'm super nervous somehow. This one is very multilingual, and I think it's very fitting to this weekend. And here you can get a sense how it's to grow up in multi-religious family somehow. And also it contains a little bit like my reflection on deportation, migration, history of my family and also of my own migration. Salam alaikum, Hosh Gildin, Shabbat Shalom, Christos Voskres. Ayo, Oma hat Eier gefärbt mit Zwiebelschalen. Mom made a cheese dessert, which I never tasted before. They said it's Pascha. Я не знаю, что это такое, но мне нравятся крашеные яйца. Я долго спрашиваю, но не понимаю, почему и у кого день рождения. Мне показали старые открытки with cute children, big eyes, blonden Locken, zart und pastellig, très chic. Винтажные дети не прояснили мне ситуацию, но дали импульс for my passion for vintage. Vintage things, vintage clothes, foreign vintage, because as my family moved to a foreign country, they took mostly books with them. Everything else was available in a better quality in Germany. Next slide. Buyuk Baba hatte cute Sachen, hübsche things, Creme und aus einer anderen Zeit. Хрупкая фарфоровая статуэтка балерины мерцала холодно зеленоватым отливом. У бабуси были тысячи подушек, вышитых невиданными цветами. Серебряные ложки с монограммами. Они принесли эти винтажные вещи из другой далекой жизни, а мы не смогли или не считали это важным. Ностальжик.
Rahmat. Thank you, Rahmat, Leo. Big Zu Rahmat. Yes, yes. And no. But our next guest is from very far away. Раиль!
Привет. Самисес. Надеюсь, меня слышно.
Раиль, все слышно.
Супер. Да, меня зовут Раиль, я родился в Ульяновске. Это город на Волге, рядом с Казанью. Но это не татарский город, но в районе, где я вырос, было очень много людей, приехавших со всего Советского Союза, и это была был такой интернациональный район, поэтому я не могу сказать, что я чувствовал себя плохо, потому что я татарин, потому что вокруг было достаточно много различных этносов. Но все постоянно путали мое имя и не могли его произнести. И я не понимал татарского, когда приезжал в деревню. И поэтому я не очень любил татарский язык и все, что вообще было связано с татарским. Хотя все мои родственники говорят, понимают татарский. Родители решили, что лучше я буду учить русский, просто потому что, наверное, у меня были проблемы. Вот. И поэтому я не знаю татарского и немного скучаю и грущу, потому что не обладаю вторым языком. Безумно рад за всех тех, кто может говорить и понимать на двух языках без каких-либо усилий. Я прочитаю 3 стихотворения. Можно следующий слайд, пожалуйста. Тель мой тель. Минем ты или нет? Юг да нем, яки да хем, зур но удал, мал да матур, малай у он. Ула, ала, юла, лала, без ля-ля. Следующий слайд. Светле шай. Светле шай. Мин кен сайын эшен. Мин кишкене. Миге мин светлешайшен, мин сарамым. Сет бармы мин сарым. Пиала да светлешай. Минем пиала. Апамнын пиала. Анинен пиала. Атинен зур кружкасы. Светсес шай. Светсес светлешай. Мин аэтем светсес шайешен. Минем кружкада светсес шай. Ekmek kibetinde kubdiye bilen şay satıp alam. Şay paketin, kaynar su estelde. Set var mı min sorum? Rahmet. Tamle. Plastik stakanda sütle şey.
Oh, third poem. Please go on.
Так же, как и у Нары, мое третье стихотворение я написал про мою бабушку, которая на слайде, фотография на слайде. Жил-был у бабушки серенький козлик. Малай у обеки жил-был. Балакай у оби был же. Сьеры талык будто скакал-прыгал. Один звук из китайских часов. Так-так-так. Тик-так, тик-так. Бигзур Ахмед. Салбогес.
Rahmet, Bigzur Rail. And such an interesting story that Rail said. If you notice that he doesn't speak Tatar, but look, he wrote so many poems, and some of them are huge poems in pure Tatar. So, Rail, please don't underestimate. You already are a Tatar poet, like Abdullah Tukay. So, also, look, Rail looks like Abdullah Tukay a little bit, I think. So, you are just successor of Abdullah. But also, funny thing that I wanted to tell you is about Rail. No, I forgot. But anyways, yes. I just was sitting there listening, and then I received a question, and that's fine because you are all here to learn more. And the question was, why in the previous slide, please? Why in this poem Rail used Latin alphabet, and I'll just tell you very quickly. Because I don't know why Rail used it, but sometimes we use it, and I also use it because we want to kind of decolonize and get rid of these traces of Cyrillic, which was forcefully put on our languages. And a lot of people who are either language activists or even not activists but still write in their native non-Russian languages, they sometimes deliberately switch to these Latin alphabets and sometimes even other more ancient alphabets. But for example, myself and many other people, we cannot write in Arabic, which was before Latin, in Tatar, for example, but some people can. Some people write even Arabic, Tatar, still. Yeah, so thanks so much. And our next performer, wow, it's a very big surprise. Very interesting person and interesting because why is this interesting? Because our next performer has been doing poetry in Buryat language, in Buryat Mongol language, performing on stage, and that's how I learned that in Buryat, for example, the rhyme is in the beginning of the straka. How do you say it? of the line. Can you imagine? It's very interesting, and that's why we have these laboratories to find out so many different things. Okay, then I invite here to this stage Handama.
Thank you, Dinara. Амар мында хундатанухыт, хэнбанагут. Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья. Как вы поживаете? Hello, everyone, and how are you doing today? Хандамап, бакшып, бурят монголби, агымби. As you see in this slide, I'm a poet and a Buryat language teacher. So one of my methods that I give in my lessons of Buryat language, I ask my students to describe themselves in 3 words. And in Buryat, it's so easy. You can add to your name just ending b, and you can describe yourself like I did. Handamap, Bakshap. I'm a teacher. I'm Handama. And the next slide, please. So here you can learn a little bit more about Buryat, but while you're reading, I will tell you about my experience here in Dinara's poetry course. I'm second time here, and not exactly, but year ago, I was here standing on this same stage and performing and reading poetry. And in the first lab of, for me, first lab, TEL 2, I learned a lot. And main topic or main theme of this poetry for me was people were playing with words. There was so much fun having great games with words, and I tried to do the same last time. And in this time, I learned also about more feelings, senses. We were focused on bringing smells from childhood or music, songs. So it was all about senses. So I would like to jump from slide to slide. So I will ask to turn next slide. Yes, thanks. And this performance for me today will be like a time machine. I want to look back at myself 1 year ago in my first laboratory and check my mental state. Yeah, it's vibe check. It's mental health check. And it's also improvisation because I was not very well planning or structuring my today's performance. So it's improvisation performance for you. Нигдики хара ялагат гад унгыршыбы. Нырие яхая хайсы хухолнап. Бидлинды гансардынып, батырты бархирнып. Байың маңгылы алтырғыны шагны, бидінді бәйхің балшырнахың, бұтырны, үбдірны, бұлтыйын, бұхыймы, ава. So it was this poem I wrote like a year ago, and it was very sad, where I feel lonely in Berlin, and where I'm crying all the time. And yeah, vibe check. So next one, please. Next one, yeah. So in this laboratory, I learned a lot about visual poetry, and it was, for me, like for Dinara, was so super hard to write normal poems with words. So I was collecting things that I can bring together. And here I wrote, just today, Altın Kargını. It's a symbol of Buryat resistance or resilience or anything like, I guess I will be like a woman from meme, смотря какой фабрик. I would just mix languages. Алтырғыны гіхіде темі орғымыл, Это растение, оно имеет очень крепкие корни. It has a very huge root system. So it's a symbol of Buryat people who went through repressions, through historical traumas, and still managed to blossom in very bright colors. So Buryat language is connected to many other languages in Mongolic family, for Kalmykian, for example, or Turkic languages like Tatar. So you can understand here first word altın, gold, zolta. Yeah, kargana from also word which means цвет, ungu, color. Kara, or hara, it's yes, like, yeah. So it's about this beautiful steppe flower or orgamol. And can you bring 2 slides back, please? Back, yeah, this one. Thank you. This is my visual poetry, and it's also have elements of kargana, hargana, altergana, and my favorite poem. And here I will read my second poem. And it's also a method that I learned with Dinara. We were writing collective poems, and today it's as a time machine. I'm checking myself, how I feel today, and I feel supported. I feel surrounded by good people, and I'm not lonely anymore. And I want to thank you people who are helping me all the time, and shout out to my friend Maxim and my boyfriend who is here today. And they actually helped me today because I said, I have only visual poem and I don't have any words. Could you please help me? And they wrote me in English some poem about me, how strong I am, how resilient I am. And I translated this poem to Buryat. Напшыхын онына, тынгыры хухы балывы, интор сысык сауыр, ябахада, жарғылтай бәніп, өймоды хархада, ухына сықыда, биган сара, унашиха, бадыдык хумби. Хулың хулды намдылған сықыркте, ямыршие, әді хынгуғыр, жарғылтай бәқып. Тахылғынен болынды толы бәні, орығы хархы гет, шадыны ұйып. And the last part is actually here, but it's not my poem, it's just one of my favorite poems in Buryat language. Уйтхыр тухаға мартап, уйтхын юдоры шыртеп, хархын тешім, харгый, харгын хажуғар, оргый. Уның бие бұйылхым, уыры сәлғанар уйылхым, засом, зарик, хусыл, зол жарғыл. Thank you. And
Wow, such powerful, such wonderful surprise for us. That's what I said, surprise. And I didn't even know that it's going to be a surprise. I just improvised. I lied to you and it turned out to be actual surprise for me and everyone. So I'm just also a witch, maybe. But yeah, thank you so much, Handama. And our next performer, also very, very special, because this performer lost not only Tatar, but also Russian language. It's very interesting how it's gonna, how did it happen? We will find out. Sofia, please welcome on stage.
Hello, salam, привет. My name is Sofia, and I'm very happy to be here. It's my also third time with Dinara in this laboratory, And I'm very happy that I'm attending it now for the third time, because every time I'm in this laboratory, it's very challenging, but I'm growing so much as a person, but also as an artist. Also because every time I get to know myself a bit more. Yeah, exactly. So the question, how did I lose Russian? So I was born in Kazakhstan, but I grew up in Germany. And so for a long time, I was not confronted with the Russification of my family. And like my parents spoke to me in Russian, but I always replied in German. And so also the Russian language got like weaker. And my mom, she lost her Tatar language when she started to go to kindergarten in Kazakhstan. And so this is like one fact of the Russification in my family. But with the year, I realized that, for example, in my father's family, they were saying like "privet," but in my mom's family, they were saying like "isyamesis." And so I started to ask why and who are you and who are you and why you are here and why we are there and who are we and who I am. And so it was like, so I also had like a bit of I was wondering about my identity, exactly. And so with the laboratory, I found a language, because it's multilingual, to express this, and I'm very thankful to that. Next slide. So last year, I decided that I am an ethnical akroshka for the people. For the people who don't know what akroshka is, it's a summer soup from the Volga region, and you cut like a lot of ingredients and you put them into a big pot. And this is how I see myself, because as you can see, I'm like quarter Tatar, but my Tatar family is from China. I'm a quarter German, and my German family is from like they are from Ukraine, and I'm half Russian from Kazakhstan. And I also have a very beautiful book by Masha Krasnova-Shaibeva. It's called Colonial Banality. And I'm so, like, I was very happy that she also sees herself as a soup or as a cake. And the question, can I cut myself into pieces like a cake? And sometimes I feel the same. And that's why I would like to share this with you. Next slide. So the first poem that I want to present is called Kara, and it's a poem about chai. And like in so many cultures, chai is not just a drink, it's cultural. Like it's when you get guests, then you greet them with chai. When you sit in the evening, you drink chai and you talk. And when I'm here in Berlin, I don't really drink chai, but when I'm with my family in Kazakhstan, when I visit my family in Kazakhstan, we drink a lot of chai. And so this poem is about the chai, but also the cultural connection and my connection to my family in Kazakhstan. Next slide. The poem is in English with some drops of Russian and Tatar. Sipping with half-closed eyes while the bittersweet vkus, sweetened by milk, wanders down my throat, warming me from the inside, yurek and soul. Remembering the cool summer nights, Kara sky like Kara chai, with sprinkling stars like sachar sinking into the darkness. Diki vetir running down the mountains like Kadria used to on her horse, creating little goosebumps on hot heated skin, 5 layers of Abika purple cloves. Sipping the taste of strings connecting us, nostalgic layers Naguber, pressing them together to overcome the feeling of Sakhinganda, counting the days like the bees the Chechak. Next slide. The next poem is called Korne Su. Su is water in Tatar and Korne is like the roots. And this poem is about the nostalgic feeling that I feel towards my family in Kazakhstan. And they are very far away and I don't see them that often, but there's still this Korne Su that is like connecting us. Next slide. The poem is very multilingual. It's in Tatar, English, German, and in Russian. And here is the English translation. Clack, clack, chuck, chuck, zack, zack, gap, gap. An invisible gap zwischen uns. No ja nie magu, möchten, might, astanavlica, swinging between, ey bed him nashar, tröste mich durch, wirbelndes Haar, daj mnie i nie отпускай, ja ratam, du bist dran, watch the sun. So wie du mich siehst, every time, когда надо уйти, sorry, every time, когда надо уйти, чай-чак, su, abika, you. I'm drinking and thinking of Korne Su. Rahmet.
Rahmet. Danke schön. Thank you, Sophia. Спасибо. Time flies, and we are very close to our finale, but not too close. So now is not the last, but very close to last. Performer from very, very far, and also unique and special like every performance on this stage. Please. Masha Gulina, welcome to this virtual stage. Маша.
Привет, Таня. Меня зовут Маша, и я письменница і мультидисциплінарная мастачка з Беларусі, зараз живу ў Ліверпулі. Я нарадзілася ў горадзе Горкі, зараз Ніжні Новгарад, і мой тата з Расіі, моя мама з Беларусі, і амаль усё сваё жыццё я пражыла ў Беларусі. Я вучыла беларускую ў школе, але расла ў асноўным рускамоўным асяродку, у якім часта захапляліся рускай культурай і часта лічылі беларускую культуру другім гатункам. Таму быць беларускай было свядомым выбарам для мяне, і дзякуючы лабараторыі Динары я прымаю ўсе мовы, з якіх я складаюся, і пішу на ўсіх мовах. У гэтай мазаіцы беларуская гэта мова для размоў з дрэвамі і кветкамі, рэкамі і балотамі. Гэта мова памяці, сямейнай гісторыі і будучыні. Я прачытаю два верша, і на наступным слайдзе, next slide, please, можна паглядзець, вось з чаго складаецца мая беларускасць. І першы верш гэта пра такі верш пра вечнае мігранцкае пытанне адкуль ты і ўсе асацыяцыі, што з гэтым звязаныя. Ці маецца на ўвазе, дзе я нарадзілася, ці мая ідэнтычнасць. А другі верш будзе пра памяць. У ім я намагаюся прыгадаць усе кветкі з саду маёй прабабулі, якога больш не існуе. І я спрабую захаваць памяць праз фатаграфію, засушаныя кветкі, вышыўку, але адзінае сапраўднае месца для захавання ўнутры мяне. Кожны верш напісаны з выкарыстаннем трох моваў, з якім я зараз жыву: беларускай, рускай і англійскай. І на наступным слайдзе, next slide, пачынаецца верш. Bitter Hills. Where are you from? Кажа гэта яшчэ да таго, як я скончыла вымаўляць сваё імя. Что отказать? Тот город, где я родилась, его больше нет. Вернее, его имени. Горький. Горки. Горкая. Горка. Я. По одной из версий, гэта і азначае маё імя у перакладзе з адной старажытнай мовы. Горький. Горки. Bitter hills. The words of my language not spoken are like pills. Where is that accent from? Чуть более вежливый способ задать тот же вопрос, запихнуть в коробок, налепить ярлычок. Теперь-то с тобой все понятно. Горки. Быццам бы я нарадзілася ў Беларусі. Я жила в Беларусі з 3 до 33 лет. Кожны раз, калі я запаўняю анкету на візу, я забываю, які варыянт транслітарацыі Горкі, Горкі, Горкі, Bitter Hills абрала ў мінулы раз. Может, из-за этого будет отказ, и меня депортируют. So, where is home for you? Патаемнасць, хмызняк, далягляд, чэрвень, парэчкі, дажджы. My dear bitter baby, дзіця з-пад холмов, твой дом на мяжы, на мяжы. І другий вірш на наступному слайді називається «Memory». Я хочу пригадати усе кветки саду моєї прабабулі. Васильки, пионы, жасмин, флоксы, настурции, названия, заклинания. Матиола, ночная фиалка, пахнет в сумерках. Бледно-сиреневый влажный вечер. Прытемки, скрип дверей, тишиня, вільгаць травы, спеваў соловей, скрип дверей, у нейкую іншую простору. Здесь, где я сейчас, сирень не пахнет, пионы не пахнут. Весной все усыпали крокусы. I'm trying to take a picture. It comes out of focus. Память як лёс, memory loss. Тонкий цветок, празрыстая кветка, прышытая ніткай маіх намаганняў to keep it together. Але нават без гэтага наш сад існуе назаўжды, наізнанке, мяне. Дякуй.
Дякую, Маша. Дякую. And do you know what is more depressing than the last season of Black Mirror and Facebook? Versions. The end of this evening today. The end of our great, like this magic. But we have grand finale prepared for you so that you are not depressed, but you leave this Panda platformer with happiness, because our last performance is also like a magic for you. Are there any French people? Because I don't want to be offensive. Sophia, are we ready for the last performance? Not yet. Okay, so it's just... we're ready. Okay. I'm just inviting to the stage Igor.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, online people. And our online viewers. My name is Igor. I speak Sakha. We can go to the next slide. So tonight I wanted to share with you a positive story, optimistic story, because I come from Sakha Republic, and there we speak Sakha language, which is furthest north Turkic language. And this is one of the very few indigenous languages in Russia which is growing in numbers. And it is still spoken. So growing up in my home, I was really lucky to speak my language. I still speak the language with my family. I still write in the language. I went to Sakha school. And the language was everywhere surrounding me. And even now, in these very difficult times, there is a lot of really cool things happening in culture in Sakha, in the language, and it's developing, it's becoming modern, and getting better and stronger. We can go to the poetry now. Together with Dinara, we were challenging the definition of what a poetry could be. And we had one session discovering visual poetry and the forms of poetry. And I got really inspired, and we ended up with the idea that we're not bounded by anything, and there is no limits, so poetry could be anything and have any forms. So here I want to invite you a little bit to my daytime job in healthcare and molecular biology. So I had an idea that, okay, we can get a text and transcribe it into a DNA sequence. But can we go further than that? And now we can, because just a few years ago, we got the technology to do the next steps and get the DNA to synthesize it, and then put it through the cells and create a protein based on it. And now, with the technology, we can predict how these proteins would look like and what their functions would be. So I translated into a protein my favorite poem in Sakha language, which is about their mother tongue. And I'll read it for you, and you can see the translation on the top. Just the beginning. Epper jem uten kutta, ingmit ebit behita, kustuk öngner gemissettar, saham mandar sangata. Let's go to the next slide. So, just like in this poem from my mother, I got my mother tongue, my body, my life, but I also got splitting head migraines. And we both get really bad migraines, and when we get them, we can't do anything, we just can't stay in bed. But when we have our headaches together, it's not as miserable as having them alone. So that's a poem about it. Migrene, miene, migrene, ayena, мигрена и ямкена. Мне, тебе и вам головная боль. What do you have in common? Мигрена, мене, аена и ямкена. Kopfschmerz, не смерть. Headache, ахсана сох. Каждый день, каждую неделю. Ияя, сывая, аюая. And let's go to the last slide. During the laboratory, we also did a lot of research. We were researching our languages, where they come from, what's special, and what literature there is. And I was researching libraries in Berlin and found a lot of resources written in German by German ethnographers and anthropologists back in the 19th century. And one thing that stuck with me was they describe how people in Yakutia were singing all the time. While working, while going somewhere, while riding horses, they would sing. And that's something that's lost now. I think we don't sing just regularly during activities. But some melodies, some traditional melodies, they survived in forms of lullabies and prayers. So this is a song that I sing now for myself. Ulaida, ulaida, ula köstü, ula köstü. Verach, veren, verach, veren. Verach, veru, verach, veru. Çeyderu, çeyderu. Çeyderu. Çeyderu. Kepse, ipse, kepse, ipse. İhan toğon, İhan toğon. Thank you, Nachtal.
Wow, thank you so much, Igor. Such a beautiful finale for our evening. But before we end, I would like to invite all our performers on stage again, just so that you all can see us together. Our laboratory, our class, our group. We became friends. We became family. Now we just one big organism. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for being with us. And bye-bye. Salam alaikum. Sağ bulunuz. Also, our online people, please switch on. Show us our online people. Before we don't... Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Yes. Yeah, now we're all together, the whole team. Yes, thank you for coming and have a nice night. До свидания, спокойной ночи, сау булығыз. Всем пока. Бигзур Ахмед, спасибо, Панда-платформа, Точка и Софья Евмина, наша бывшая выпускница, за то, что переключала слайды.